Alrighty, folks, today we are going to be taking a look at the nominees for the Game Awards this year. This is the 10th anniversary of Jeff Keighley's Game Awards, and we're going to be casting our votes, talking about these nominations. I'm going to talk about whether or not Nintendo was snubbed because they don't have any games in the Game of the Year nomination, and that's actually the first time that's happened since I want to say 2018 maybe, because even in 2019 they had Smash Bros. Because it released after the cutoff. They've had a Game of the Year nominee every single year, basically the entire Switch generation, except for, like I said, maybe 2018. So this is the first time in a long time Nintendo has not had a GOTY nominee. I think a lot of people were hoping that Echoes of Wisdom would sneak in there. It did not. So I want to talk about whether or not Nintendo was snubbed. I also want to talk about this entire Elden Ring being nominated for Game of the Year situation here. I was going to make a video on it when they announced that expansions were eligible for GOTY, because at that moment we all knew, well, obviously Elden Ring's about to sweep this thing, and I just don't think that's necessarily right. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy Nintendo content, but also video gaming content, discussion, speculation, theories, all that kind of fun stuff, I would appreciate you subscribing. Let's get into it. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the channel. So yeah, we're going to be casting our votes for the GOTY nominees here. They just did like a little stream announcing these, and I thought it'd be fun to just kind of walk through and vote on what I think should win each category. Now, obviously, disclaimer, I've not played everything this year. Looking at the Game of the Year nominees here, I've actually only really played 3 of them, and I have not finished Metaphor, although that is going to be my vote, spoiler alert. I have not played Rebirth. I know that would be a strong contender for me for a lot of these categories, but I have not played it, so some of my votes might end up being a little bit more vibes based on that, because I think in some cases I would probably vote for Rebirth if I actually get around to playing it. But yeah, so I thought it'd be fun to do this, also just talk about some things like Nintendo being snubbed a little bit, but actually, I think that's not true. I think Nintendo actually has more nominations than I expected given their output this year, specifically Princess Peach Showtime being nominated for Best Family Game, but we'll talk about that as we go. The big controversy this year was Jeff Keighley and them kind of changing the rules so that expansions were eligible. I don't think that's right. I made a tweet about it. I think Erdtree is great. I'm sure. I haven't played it. I played base Elden Ring. I'm sure Erdtree is incredible. I'm sure it is deserving of many, many praises and many, many flowers. They should just make an expansion category. There are enough major DLC expansions every single year that you could have that. Now, they do have the best ongoing game category, but Elden Ring didn't get nominated for that, which I find weird because Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty actually won that category last year, and that's a single-player expansion. I feel like the voting and like the rules here are not really that consistent, and it's kind of frustrating because I know a lot of people don't like Jeff Keighley and the shows he puts on. I actually do have a lot of respect for Jeff Keighley. I think it's very cool that he's trying to be like this mediary kind of like guy in the middle connecting everything here for all these different companies and having all these different shows every year in place of E3, in place of a proper Gamescom show, and then of course in place of a proper Oscar show for Game Awards. You know, it's nice that he's doing all that. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I have a lot of respect for him. However, the way they're doing this is stupid. Elden Ring and expansion should not be nominated for Game of the Year. They should not be eligible for Game of the Year. Even if Shadow of Erdtree is better than a lot of games that released this year, I'm sure it's better than Balatro and Black Myth, and possibly even these 2 RPGs that I love, you know, or will love in the case of Rebirth. I just don't think an expansion should be nominated. I just don't think it should be allowed. Especially when it gets weird, because last year, you know, not to be, you know, a little Xenoblade fanboy here, but like, what the heck, man? You know, Future Redeemed has like a 93 on Metacritic. That is probably, I think it's a DLC, but it's its own game. In fact, actually, I think if anything, that would deserve a nominee more, because that is a separate save file. Shadows of the Erdtree, you need to play through Elden Ring to get to. Future Redeemed, you can just play Future Redeemed. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. It is a separate save file, whereas Erdtree, you have to play through basically all of Elden Ring to even access. So it's making the past 9 years even weirder. I mean, at least moving forward, we know, okay, expansions are eligible, so if that ever happens again, they won't get snubbed like a lot of people felt Future Redeemed did last year. I just don't like it. I think they should have an expansion category. I made a tweet, like I said, and there's plenty of stuff that could have been nominated. They could have done Erdtree, Dawn Trail, Diablo 4 had an expansion this year, Splatoon 3 Side Order could have gotten a nomination. You can have an expansion category and then have your best ongoing game category be more like multiplayer stuff, which is what I view as ongoing games. I think of, you know, Halo Infinite and Fortnite and PUBG. Like, those are what I think of when I think of ongoing games, not Cyberpunk, right? So I don't know. Hopefully in the future they add more categories. Also, a remake remaster category I think is sorely needed at this point. Although the terminology between remake and remaster I think is also kind of confusing for a lot of people. So maybe that's why they're afraid to do it. But anyway, let's go and start voting on these categories here. So for Game of the Year, it's Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadows of the Erdtree, Rebirth, as well as Metaphor ReFantazio. I'm going to vote for Metaphor. I am about halfway through the game. I have no doubt in my mind that it's my game of the year. Maybe Rebirth would be ahead of that, but I have not played that yet, so I'm going to be voting for Rebirth here, or for ReFantazio, I should say. Very surprised to see Balatro here. Very happy. I love Balatro. I think it's a great game. Wasn't expecting it to be nominated. I also wasn't really expecting to see Black Myth here. I thought maybe Dragon's Dogma or Silent Hill would get in there, but Black Myth actually had quite a few nominations this year. And then Astrobot, here's the thing, doing some speculation here. I think it really comes down to Astrobot and Shadow of the Erdtree, unfortunately. I like Astrobot a lot. I don't think it's as good as people say, but I think it's going to be between those two. Astrobot has a lot of momentum. It's the most, beginner-friendly or casual game here that I feel like most people voting on the jury for the Game Awards, all these different outlets and podcast networks and all that, right? Most of the people have probably played Astrobot, followed up by Elden Ring, so I really think it's between those two that'll win Game of the Year this year. I would love to see Metaphor win it. I would love to see Rebirth win it. I would even love to see Balatro win it, but I do think Astrobot or Erdtree have the most likelihood. Probably Astrobot overall, but I would not be surprised to see Elden Ring win this thing. But I'm going to be voting for Metaphor here. Best Game Direction, actually the exact same nominees. Balatro getting nominated here, very cool. That's a great game if you haven't played it. It's like poker, but it's like a roguelike poker game. I highly recommend that if you haven't played it. But once again, though, I think it's awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. I'm sure Elden Ring was nominated for that back in 2022. Probably won it, right? That's a DLC. It's the same game, but more content. In fact, there are actually a lot of issues people had with Erdtree with like the reuse of bosses and stuff. I just don't think that game should be nominated here. I'm sure it's great. I loved Elden Ring. I love From Software. Sekiro was my game of the year 2019, but this just does not feel right. Anyway, once again though, I would give this to Metaphor. Even Astrobot, like game direction. There's like 4 Astrobot games, and they're all the same. But I'll definitely give that to Metaphor. And then we get down to 5 nominees per category. Best Narrative for Outstanding Storytelling and Narrative Developments in a Game. Rebirth, Infinite Wealth, ReFantazio, Hellblade, and Silent Hill 2. Need to get to Infinite Wealth and Silent Hill 2. Don't have much interest in Hellblade. I don't think the first Hellblade was anything that interesting, and people say this one's even worse. So for me, once again, Metaphor sweeping right now. Rebirth or Infinite Wealth could maybe. I like the story of Metaphor quite a bit. I'm not sure if I would like it more than Rebirth or Infinite Wealth, but considering I haven't played those games yet, I will give it to Metaphor. Best Art Direction, once again, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is just more of the same game we played 2 years ago. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Erdtree has some crazy art direction that was not seen in the original game, but it just feels a little... Am I crazy here? Do you guys agree with me? I don't know. It just feels weird. But once again, going for Metaphor on art direction. I love the style of art direction, of course. Metaphor, of course, the UI especially is something that's very, very nice in that game. Love what they got going on there. Atlas, the kings of UI. Surprise, surprise! Best score and music. This is one I'm not sure what'll win this year. I want to say Metaphor would win it, but for 7 Rebirth, obviously, it's a Final Fantasy soundtrack. Those are always good. I think Astrobot being nominated in this category is laughable. I like Astrobot a lot, but the soundtrack of the game is kind of not very good at all, actually. It's kind of annoying to listen to, and it's a short game, so the fact that you get annoyed of the soundtrack very early is kind of rough. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in my review of that game over on SNUBBED. I think I forgot to talk about the soundtrack, but the soundtrack in Astrobot's actually bad, I would say. It's like fun for a first listen. It's fun for a first listen, not for a full game. Especially since a lot of it is like just the same stuff from the Astro's Playroom game that's audio on PS5. Anyway, Metaphor here. I think the music in Metaphor is fantastic. I cannot wait to hear the Metaphor soundtrack and the Game Awards orchestra. That's going to be awesome. Best audio design. First one without Metaphor in the running here. Astrobot, Black Ops 6, Rebirth, Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2. You have to imagine Hellblade probably wins this. That's like the whole thing with that game is like the performance capture, but also the sound design and like all the, crazy voices she hears in her head. I'm actually going to give it to Black Ops 6, though. I think Call of Duty, people like kind of laugh at the idea of Call of Duty really winning awards, but specifically Treyarch, but also, this applies to most Call of Duties now. The sound design is really good. It used to be that Battlefield was like the top dog when it came to sound design and FPSs, but I think Call of Duty is right up there now, maybe even above them. So I'm actually going to vote for Call of Duty there. I think Black Ops 6 has amazing sound design, and it's also an amazing game. That would have been an interesting one to see nominated for Game of the Year. Probably will never happen again, but that'd be cool. Best performance. So I haven't played any of these games yet. I'd imagine it'll probably be down between Melina Juergens and Brianna White for Rebirth. Gotta rep Rebirth, though. Gotta rep my Final Fantasy family. So I'll vote for her, even though I haven't played the game. Innovation and accessibility. So here's the thing. It doesn't say like what exactly is being nominated for here, so I'm not sure what Diablo or Dragon Age or Prince of Persia really do for accessibility. Black Ops 6 actually did a lot, though. They had the whole thing where you don't have to press even X to mantle or anything. Like, if you just want to run and jump over a ledge, you can just do that. There's a lot of crazy options in like the UI customization and all that, as well as the control options there. So I'm actually going to vote for Black Ops 6 here as well. Games for Impact for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. I'm going to go for Tales of Kinzera Zhao here. Cool game, kind of Metroidvania, kind of Prince of Persia Lost Crown-esque, actually. So I'm going to vote for that here. If you notice, we have not seen a single Nintendo game yet. That's because they basically only got nominated for Family Game and I think multiplayer with Jamboree. Best ongoing game here. Gotta give it to Final Fantasy XIV, obviously. I've not played Dawn Trail yet. I'm still catching up, but I heard some mixed things about Dawn Trail's story, but I think the way they update that game so consistently with events and stuff, as someone who got into Final Fantasy XIV early last year, so I've been playing it for like 2 years now, I have not felt a dip in like quality of the events or anything that comes out, whereas like Destiny 2, you're always hearing people yell about how Destiny had a bad update or something, and then when they have a good one like Final Shape, obviously it's a big deal. Diablo also, I feel like, had a lot of similar issues. Fortnite, I'm tapped out on Fortnite. I don't even know what's going on with that game. And Helldivers 2, actually, I don't think should be nominated for this because Helldivers 2 had a very bad post-launch kind of release content structure. So yeah, I think Final Fantasy XIV should actually win this. It'll probably be Destiny 2 just because Final Shape is so beloved, but I think Final Fantasy XIV deserves that. Best community support, same thing. Shout out to No Man's Sky and Hello Games, though. They always are nominated for this. They always, I think, deserve the nomination because they're just constantly pumping content into that. Baldur's Gate 3, I'm not sure what's even going on with that game anymore, but yeah, I'll give it to the Final Fantasy XIV here. If you can't tell, I like Square Enix, and I like RPGs. Best independent game. So we have Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei, Neva, and UFO 50. This is a great lineup of games. I've not played UFO 50, heard amazing things. I've not played Neva. Played a little bit of Animal Well, was enjoying it, but I got to give it to Balatro. I think Balatro is a fantastic game, and I'll be voting for it again here in Best Debut Indie Game. Cool to see Plucky Squire get a little bit of a nomination, though. Here we go. Best Mobile Game, AFK Journey, Balatro, Pokemon. There's your first Nintendo nomination, even though it's not on a Nintendo console, which is really funny. Wuthering Waves and ZZZ. So I haven't played Balatro on mobile. I'm not sure if it's any different there. Probably not. I love Pokemon TCG Pocket, though. I posted a video about it on It's a Bebo last week. I voted for Balatro in the other two categories, and I haven't played Balatro on mobile, and I think I enjoyed playing that game with a controller, so I'm actually going to give this one to Pokemon TCG Pockets. Balatro will probably win it, though, or maybe Zenless Zone Zero. Best VR/AR, I mean, I literally don't care. I mean, there's actually no way to skip it. Oh wait, no, there is. Okay, I can just skip that. I'm just gonna skip that one. I literally do not care about VR stuff. Best action game: Black Myth, Call of Duty, Helldivers, Stellar Blade, Warhammer. Cool to see Warhammer get some nominations. I have not played that, but it looks very nice. I don't really think of Call of Duty as like an action game. I mean, it is, obviously it is, but like I don't really think of it. When I think of action games, I think of Black Myth, I think of Stellar Blade. But of these nominees, Call of Duty, favorite game. So waiting for Black Ops 6. Black Ops 6 is incredible, genuinely. Best action adventure: Astrobot, Lost Crown getting a nominee, very cool. Silent Hill, Star Wars Outlaws, and then Echoes of Wisdom. Finally, 15 categories in, halfway through the voting, we finally have our first Nintendo nomination here. But as much as I wanted to like Echoes of Wisdom, I think the game has a lot of issues. So actually, out of these, I would give it to Astrobot. Prince of Persia, very cool, and Silent Hill I have not played yet. I probably, out of these, I bet Silent Hill would be my votes, but I'm gonna vote for Astrobot for now. Best RPG, we got Dragon's Dogma. I think is that the only nomination that game got? That's kind of crazy. Any other year, I feel like Dragon's Dogma could have swept. Elden Ring, Rebirth, Infinite Wealth, and ReFantazio. Once again, haven't played these two, so it's going to have to go to Metaphor, but these two could potentially be better than Metaphor. I'm not too sure. I think overall Metaphor would probably still win for me, though, even after I play those games. Best fighting game, this one's interesting. I'm actually not sure what will win this. Sparking Zero, Grand Blue, Fighting Collection, Multiverses, and Tekken 8. Obviously, Multiverses not winning it. Oh my goodness. What a disaster that's been. It's really between Sparking Zero and Tekken. It's probably going to be Tekken. I think Tekken reviewed like really well, but also Sparking Zero reviewed really well. And I really enjoy Sparking Zero. I also really enjoy Tekken 8, but I'm going to give it to Sparking Zero. Tekken will probably win it, but Sparking Zero is really cool, and that'd be awesome to see an anime game win Best Fighting Game. Then we have Best Family. This is the one that Nintendo actually had some nominees in. I'm surprised Brothership is not in this. I imagine that has to be because it came out after the deadline or something for the voting, because otherwise Brothership should have absolutely been nominated here over Princess Peach Showtime at the very least, right? You would imagine, because Princess Peach Showtime, I think it's fine. It's a fine video game, but it's not. It's just kind of a nothing video game. So you'd imagine Brothership would have been nominated over that. Astrobot, though, Jamboree, I have not played too much of yet, so I need to get into that more. Echoes of Wisdom and Plucky Squire. I got to give it to Astrobot, but I would have liked Nintendo to release better games this year. if I put more time into Jamboree, it probably would be that, but I just haven't played enough of it to really weigh in. So I'll give it to Astrobot here, and it'll probably win that category as well, since if Astrobot doesn't win Game of the Year, it's absolutely going to win the other categories it's nominated for, like Best Family Game. So I imagine that'll be the winner there. Best Sim Strategy. Actually, I was going to say I don't care about this category. I freaking adore Unicorn Overlord, so that's got to be my nomination here. Also, shout out to Kanetsugami for being nominated as well. I actually don't know who'll win this. It'd be really cool to see Unicorn Overlord win this, though. I really hope that wins, because that game is fantastic. Best Sports Racing, don't care. Best Multiplayer, another category with some Nintendo goodness here. Helldivers will probably win this just because it was such a moment earlier this year, but I got to vote for Call of Duty. I think Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is genuinely fantastic. Best Adaptation, Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon, and Tomb Raider. I forgot this Tomb Raider show even came out, and I heard Yakuza is not very good, so I think it's clear that Fallout's going to win, but also it's my vote as well. Most Anticipated Game, another Nintendo nomination. We got Metroid here. We have Death Stranding, Ghost of Yotei, GTA 6, Metroid, and Monster Hunter Wilds. Pretty expected lineup. 2025 is looking to be a great year for games if all these hit. I'm actually not sure. This might be surprising to you all, but I really love Ghost of Tsushima. But also, I'm very curious to see what Retro's cooking with Metroid Prime. GTA, I'm very excited for as well, just to see what happens with that game. Death Stranding 2, I'm sure will be great. Monster Hunter Wilds, I'm excited for. I'm excited for all 6 of these games, or all 5 of these games. It's between Ghost of Yotei and Prime 4, though. I'll give it to Prime 4. I think I'll give it to Prime 4. I am a notorious not a huge fan of Metroid Prime, so that's surprising for me. But I have faith Retro will make that very exciting. Oh man, this is a highly contentious topic here. I got to give it to Usada Pecora. Got to be her. Best esports game, I literally don't care. Best esports athlete, I don't care. Esports team, I don't care. It's cool that they're getting nominated. But and then the player's choice vote. Okay, so this doesn't actually start opening up until December. So I wonder what'll win player's choice. I honestly, it usually ends up being between some Hoyoverse game and like Sonic. So maybe Sonic Shadow Generations could honestly have a chance at winning this. We'll have to see. But yeah, those are going to be my nominations. Did Nintendo get snubbed? I don't really think so. I know a lot of people were hoping for Echoes of Wisdom being nominated for Game of the Year, but when you actually look at what is there, maybe you could have removed Erdtree. Maybe that shouldn't be there, and maybe Echoes of Wisdom sneaks in that way. But if Erdtree wasn't there, it probably would have been Silent Hill 2, because Silent Hill 2 actually had more nominations than Erdtree, which is surprising. So I don't think Nintendo really had a chance with any of these games, because yeah, Echoes of Wisdom it was in 2 categories. So yeah, I really think they don't deserve it this year. I think the output was fine. I think the games they released were fine, but I don't think they deserved a Game of the Year nomination up against these other things, even if Erdtree wasn't here, because it would have been Silent Hill 2, or maybe even Dragon's Dogma. Seeing them get a most anticipated nomination with Metroid is cool. Seeing them get a lot of family game nominations is cool. Seeing Princess Peach Showtime, even though the game is middling, is cool to see it just even up there. But also, it should have been Brothership, absolutely. I don't know what category it would have possibly fit in, but I would have loved to see EVO sneak in here somewhere. Wouldn't have been family game, that's for sure. But I don't really think they got snubbed. I think it's pretty accurate, and I think it's reflective of a pretty middling year for Nintendo in general. Hopefully next year will be better. I mean, it already looks like it's going to be a lot better with Xenoblade X, and then Metroid Prime 4, and Pokemon Legends ZA, and then hopefully Switch 2 with 3D Mario and some other stuff. Nintendo will probably have a Game of the Year nomination next year, potentially even 2, which is going to be very exciting. Because you can imagine 3D Mario nominated, also Metroid Prime 4 nominated next year. So they'll come back swinging next year. They were taking it easy this year while they prep Switch 2, I think. But I don't think they were snubbed, and I do think Elden Ring being nominated for GOTY is very dumb. But let me know what you guys think of these nominations down in the comments below. What do you think of the whole Elden Ring situation, and what game do you think should win Game of the Year, and what game do you think will win Game of the Year? I think a lot of people probably think Elden Ring's going to win, but I want to hear what you guys actually want to win. Also, one final shout out to Balatro. That's so cool that game got nominated. But that is going to do it for today. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo content and gaming content like this pretty much each and every day. Follow me on Twitter at BotoxGames, and check me out on my other YouTube channel at It's Amiibo for some Nintendo collecting content. Until next time, folks, peace.